Do we know game times yet?
We do not know game times.
Do we know when we will know? Maybe tonight or tomorrow?
Hopefully tomorrow.
All right. Hit me with your best shots.
Kim, I know you said at the SEC tournament that you would have your full team. I guess, can you give us a progress report on how everyone's doing?
Yeah, good to go. Good to go. I think Morrow and Flauget are in a boot, but that's just, I don't know why they still in it, but I guess they just keep them in it.
Thoughts on the initial matchup?
I know zero about San Diego State. I know they're in the Mountain West. They finished fourth. I say zero. I mean personnel-wise. They finished fourth in that league, won the tournament. Now I'm going to try to guess here if I can remember all the realignment, but that's like UNLV, New Mexico, Colorado State, Wyoming, I think are all in that league. So Coach Bob's already in the film room, and we'll certainly know more as we start watching film.
How do you feel about your experience on this team in terms of postseason experience? You got Flauget and Poa and some that have been there, done that, right?
Well, if you look at our 5 that have been starting of late, 3 have national championship rings. Samaya has 1, Poa has 1, and Flauget. Flauget started, and Poa and Samaya came off the bench and were big-time factors in the championship. So they have the experience. Morrow is Morrow. Doesn't matter if she was on that team or not. She's a walking double-double. And we're playing at home. It doesn't guarantee you any victories, but it sure is good not to have to pack this weekend.
Yeah, if you just speak to that, I guess for much of what I felt this season, you've been aiming towards this moment, right? This is the tournament that counts, getting the host, those kinds of things. Could you speak to the rewarding nature of that, and then also just the mindset now that it's here?
It's like excitement in the air. I mean, just look at our fans out there, excited. It's exciting to see who you're going to play. It's exciting to once again be exposed on national television. You can't put a dollar sign on what that means. And to see LSU up there and to see the girls in the video, and this is why you play. And only 16 of us get to host.
You reacted when you got the 3 seed, but you had another reaction to George Mason. Is there a connection there?
There is a connection. My dear friend Jan, those of you who were here, her daughter plays for them. And they won the A10 tournament. So I'm sure they'll blow my phone up when I leave here. But, yeah, that's Paige Greenberg is her daughter and is on that team. And, of course, we all know what Florida State has in Latson. Leading the country in score, and she is a baller. And I'll get to studying San Diego State tonight.
I was going to ask about Latson. What kind of challenges does she
Will you let me win the first game? And then you ask me whatever you want about Latson. Fair enough?
Sure.
I got to win the first game. She's got to win her first game. So, Reed, I can't even think about anybody but San Diego State. And when you're going into a game and you know nothing about personnel, man, you just start focusing in and you start fixating on that one team. And so let us get through that team before I start talking about Latson.
I also wanted to ask about the SEC tournament. Is there a thing or two you might have learned about your team that you can carry over into the NCAA
You better
tournament?
believe there was. You pretty much handled Florida in the first game with me being out of pocket and me playing assistant coach, and I loved that role, actually. I loved sitting down there, and I was so proud of them. And then you don't have – Michaela was in and out of the lineup against Texas, and, man, we competed. We competed. And that had to really help some of them's confidence. And let's go play. Let's see what happens. That's why they call it March Madness.
Hey, Kim, a big picture question for you. If the U.S. Department of Education is disbanded Are you concerned about Title IX regulations and how they won't no longer be able to regulate how that money is distributed to the sports?
You've lost me. I don't keep up with politics. I've kind of seen that. I'm so focused on basketball that anything outside of that, I just kind of see headlines, but I haven't studied all of that. I don't know all that, Corey. I couldn't give you an educated answer.
What have you learned over the years, or what do you try to instill in your team as a focus or a mindset to be in going into the NCAA tournament? Is there any one particular thing or a couple of things?
I'll think about what I present to them before film session tomorrow. I just met with them, and they got their new gear. That's all they got excited about, man. They got Kobe's, and they got all this stuff screaming and hollering. But tomorrow I will think about things I will present to them that hopefully will motivate them. Details more of who's in our bracket, people we have played, scores of games of people we're hopefully going to play, and just remind them that 3 seed has been good to us at LSU.
Right here in the front, good evening. Anaire Morrow, as she heads into her last tournament, I know you've seen a lot of great seasons. How would you characterize the season she's had up until now, and how much do you think her personality, as opposed to just talent, plays into how productive she's been?
Well, her personality is not just loud. Her personality is a quiet, confident, hard worker, just fights for everything she gets. And undersized post player, just relentless rebounder. She'll go down in the history of my coaching as one of the all-time greats. And she was rewarded this year being recognized on All-American teams and All-Conference teams, and as she should have been. And get her out there and let's go play.
Got time for a couple more of you guys.
What are your thoughts on first games in the tournament? People talk about nerves sometimes, and I mean, even your national championship team beat Hawaii handily, but it was not what you were at the end of the tournament, right?
Well, Jock, everybody's going to start this game excited. Everybody's going to start this game aggressive. Everybody realizes you lose, you go home. So it's not going to be where you just tip it off and it's a cakewalk. Everybody can play now. There's so much parity in the women's game that you might see some differences in, like big scores, but it's not going to be right out of the gate because people are going to give you their best shots. You've got a lot of good coaches in this tournament, and that's good for us. It's good for women's basketball, and hopefully they're going to get our best shot.
Think back to the last month and a lot of the offense originating in or running through Michaela. What have you seen in the growth of her game over the last month, and what do you like about her with the ball in her hands?
Well, Michaela had to do that because of injury. When you took Flagey off the floor, a lot of the things we do perimeter-wise, not even necessarily things I call, but just maybe subconsciously the point guard would always go to Michaela. And she's just a sophomore, and we need to remember that. And she was missing her partner on the other wing when Flagey was out, and you can't make up 20 points, but you could do it collectively. And I think we tried to do that, and we did do that. But there were a couple of those games that we fell short. But I don't change my mind. I made the right decision to sit Flagey. It didn't affect us one way or the other. 2 seed, 3 seed. Who's the 2 in our NC State? Didn't we play them earlier in the year? So, yeah, it didn't matter. Michaela, every time she steps on the floor, becomes better and better. Whether she scores a bucket, because it's just that experience factor. And she's, as I said when we signed her, she could go down as one of the top players to ever play at LSU. But she wants a ring. She's fighting hard to try to get to a Final Four before her career's over, and that's the kind of kid you want to recruit.
Kim, with Flage and Anissa, I know we're in the NCAA tournament now, but do you worry about rust? They haven't played in a little while.
You do worry about it, but you watch what your trainers are doing with them to make sure that they stay in sync, whether it's shooting, whether it's, whatever. It's, both of them were shin and foot injuries, so you can't just be up and down the floor with that, but you could get some shots up and do some things. And, yeah, you always worry about that, but you just get the rust off when you can and sub them in and out and let them get back in the flow. We'll have a good week here, 3 days, whatever. I don't know, the NCAA probably takes over Thursday or so if we play Saturday. So they'll be with the team this week, and they've been with the team, but they'll do full contact stuff this week.